everybody, welcome to yet another edition of NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right down into your questions. Hey Aaron, what did you think about the Scott Hall piece that aired on ESPN? Well, first of all, if you have not seen it, you should definitely check it out. You can go to NoDQ.com or check it out on ESPN's website. My thoughts, I pretty much agree with what everyone else has already said about it. It's really sad, really depressing to watch, but it's something you need to see. And I was really shocked about the whole part of Scott Hall getting in the fight outside a bar with this guy, and then they were fighting over a gun, and Hall ended up shooting and killing him. That took me by surprise, and that could explain a lot why he is the way he is, and he's just had a really fucked up life. There's not much more that can be said about it, and I wish the best for him. I hope he finds peace in his life. That's really all there is to say. What is the best live wrestling event you have ever attended? It would either have to be WrestleMania 21 or No Way Out 2008 in Las Vegas. That pay-per-view was really good. Two Elimination Chamber matches. They were both awesome. And then we had the return of Big Show coming out and starting his whole feud with Floyd Mayweather. So one of those two pay-per-views, either that or WrestleMania 21. Whose WWE debut was better, Kane or Undertaker? Well, I think I would have to go with Kane's, only because I think it's remembered more, and it was in a higher profile match that people remember. Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, the very first Hell in a Cell. They spent several months building up Kane, whereas Undertaker was more of a 1 month advance notice that, or actually I don't even think that, no, they were just teasing a mystery partner for Survivor Series, and it ended up being Undertaker. But with Kane, they had spent 6 months prior to the Hell in a Cell match hyping up his debut and all that. So yeah, I'd have to go with Kane's. Hey Aaron, loving the new show. Just wanted to ask, do you think WWE and pro wrestling will ever be mainstream again, or will it always be looked down upon as being silly and fake by the general public? Well, fans are getting smarter and smarter as it's different from how it was 25 years ago, where WWE and WCW at the time tried to really make it seem like it was real, and they would deny that it was fake. And that whole incident with Dr. D. David Schultz and the reporter who said, "I think this is fake," and then Schultz slapped him in the face. That kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore. Most of the companies, WWE, TNA, they all recognize that it's entertainment, and it's no secret anymore. They don't try to hide it. So as far as it being mainstream again, wrestling goes in cycles. That's just the way it is. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's not. But I do think wrestling will get popular again at some point. Will it get as popular as it was during the Attitude Era? That is hard to say, and it's going to be tough to get to that level again, where it was with Steve Austin and Vince McMahon and the NWO and all that. It's just, but it's hard to imagine. But I do see wrestling getting back to some kind of peak in popularity, to where it's popular with the mainstream. What did you think about the DX reunion from 2006? Well, the funny thing is, at the time, I thought it was kind of lame. I thought it was like a watered-down, second-rate version of the old DX, and just trying to capitalize on the past and relive the past. But compared to the 2009 reincarnation of DX, I actually think 2006 was really good. And, there were some memorable, funny moments with, Vince loves cock and dropping the crap on Vince and Spirit Squad. So there were some funny moments. Yeah, I like the DX reunion overall. What was your most disappointing match? Mine would be Goldberg and Lesnar. Definitely that one in the past 10 years would be among, I think for most people, that would be their match that they would pick to be the most disappointing. For me personally, I think I'd go back a little bit further. When I was a kid, one match I was really looking forward to was Shawn Michaels versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 1993. And it was just such a disappointment to me, because I thought that there was no way that these guys would have a boring match, and it was pretty boring. That was the match that everyone was looking forward to, and it didn't deliver. So that would be my choice right there. What do you think is more likely to happen with Big Show in the future? Do you see another championship run? Well, as they say, anything can happen in the WWE, but I think Big Show's best days are behind him now. I think he will continue to be in that upper mid-card level. He's an established veteran, so he'll always have a spot on the roster, but you never know, because with Kane, we thought that he was pretty much done for as, like a top guy, but then they put the title on him again. So it could happen, but I would bet against it. What are your thoughts on the Japanese buzzsaw Tajiri during his introduction to the company, the heel turn during the Cruiserweight division, and his tag team role on Raw? Tajiri was really good, and he was definitely a good fit for the Cruiserweight division, and he could do some funny comedy segments too. I remember with Steve Austin, that whole exchange between those two was really entertaining, and so even like to the very end, like I remember that courtroom thing with Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff and Tajiri. I think that was his final segment before leaving. That was really funny. So he was funny and he was really good in the ring. And yeah, it'd be cool to see him back at some point, but I wouldn't bet on that happening. If you could bring back one pay-per-view name, which one would it be? I would personally bring back Cyber Sunday. Well, here's the problem with that. Cyber Sunday on paper sounds like a great idea, letting the fans get to choose the matches. The problem was it just didn't work in terms of pay-per-view buy rates. Every year, the Cyber Sunday pay-per-view was among the lowest purchased WWE pay-per-views, and I'm not sure why. I think the situation is that when you buy a pay-per-view, you want to know what you're buying. You want to know what the matches are. You don't want to buy a pay-per-view not knowing what's going to happen. Talk about it being predictable and unpredictable, but I think you at least want to know what the card is and what you're paying for and what to expect to some degree. So I think that was the problem with Cyber Sunday. As far as which pay-per-view I'd like to bring back, I've said it before, I'll say it again, King of the Ring. That pay-per-view was unique, and it was something different to look forward to every year. It was once a year, and you could use the King of the Ring like the Royal Rumble is to WrestleMania. You could use the King of the Ring to have that winner challenge the champion at SummerSlam. I just think it's a good concept, and yeah, I'd like to see them bring it back. Your thoughts on WWE using social media, like how they keep CM Punk relevant through Twitter and Facebook? I think it's a good idea for the most part. I think the problem is sometimes these guys go too far with it. The point of like Twitter is to promote yourself. But when these guys start going on Twitter and saying embarrassing things, we've seen the whole deal with Matt Hardy and some of these other guys, even Hulk Hogan, going on Twitter, and just Kurt Angle going on there and just making fools of themselves. And they end up looking really bad, and they need a PR. Some of these guys need a PR guy to run their Twitter account. So, the right information gets out there and not the wrong information. That's just my opinion. What do you think about some of WWE's old school matches, such as the infamous Kennel for Hell, the pretty cool Lion's Den, and the ridiculous Punjabi Prison? Well, those matches were entertaining in a campy way. I remember the Kennel for Hell. I think like the dogs were barking the whole time and crapping outside the ring. It was such a disaster, but it was so bad it was entertaining. Lion's Den was okay for something for Ken Shamrock, but I remember that one time where Vince McMahon made Shamrock tap out, so to speak. I think there was outside interference from like Steve Blackman or something, but Vince McMahon able to say he beat Ken Shamrock in a Lion's Den match. That was ridiculous. And you had the Punjabi Prison, although I remember there was one match where Batista jumped from one end to the other, and it was pretty cool. So if WWE ever does like a worst of DVD set, which I think they should, just for entertainment value, all those matches would be great to throw on there. I think they should do it. Scenario. TNA gets bought by WWE. How would they announce it? Would they do a Rise and Fall title DVD? In my opinion, Vince would come out at the Impact Arena and say he lost control of WWE. He bought TNA instead. That's not going to happen. It's not like WCW. WWE does not see TNA as any kind of serious competition. Whereas with WCW, it was serious competition. If WWE was to purchase TNA, I think they would just make an announcement of it, just randomly on TV, and maybe do a DVD. What would it be called? Rise. It would have to just be called the something and fall of TNA. I don't know. Definitely, there was not much of a rise to talk about. No offense to the TNA people. So yeah, there wouldn't be much to it. It's not going to be anything like WCW. That's for sure. All right, that about does it for No DQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. Thanks again for checking out the show. As always, you can leave a comment at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. We have Vengeance coming up this weekend. You can check out the coverage at NoDQ.com. Who do you think is going to win the WWE title match, the last man standing match? John Cena or Alberto Del Rio? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.